So compression sleeves, a overhyped piece of fabric, or your new blood flow buddy. Hey, howdy, hi everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Frank Colburn. This is Light on the Trail podcast. And on this episode, we're going to dive a little bit into compression sleeves. What's going on with all those? Kind of what do they do? Are they really that great? Are they a waste of time and money? Why and all that fun stuff? What do they do? What's the means of this? So right off the bat, the best way I can explain it in kind of a simple term, I guess, is like if your veins are a rope bridge and they are, across this canyon, you got to go across it. And let's say you're on a bike and you got to deliver something from one side to the other. So you're right across this rope bridge and it's kind of bouncy and rickety and wobbly, right? And it's just a little difficult to get to the other end. And what a compression sleeve does, if that rope bridge is your veins, it gives it more support and helps it just stay where it needs to be. So you kind of swap those ropes out for, say, cables, some steel cables, right? So it's much more rigid. It's easier to get some speed going and just go straight across. Anything that's not a straight line is going to take longer, slower, even how minuscule. But that's the gist of it. So when our blood cells, your blood's flowing through your veins and it's getting to your muscles and you're exerting yourself, aerobically or anaerobically, we'll kind of get into that also. They're bringing oxygen. The oxygen goes to your muscles. I'm kind of keeping this simple because also that's just how I know it. I am not a coach or whatever, any kind of person in those degrees, but just a lot of research and looked into it through all the years. But interesting enough, right? So it brings your muscles this oxygen, and then it has this whole cycle, and it goes around through your body, back to your lungs and heart and all that, and comes back, and that's just how the blood flows. But in some cases, it also takes out like an exhaust system, bad stuff you don't need. It's, like you inhale, exhale, takes in the oxygen, can take away lactate when needed when you're in an anaerobic state. So how's that? That's kind of the main purpose of this structure or the compression is the blood flow. So it's mostly for blood flow, but also medically has been used for like clotting or varicose veins. When I had a bulge behind my knee, and I thought it was I can't remember what the name of it is, but there's a couple things that your knee's a fun, complex piece of work, right? But when I had a varicose vein, it's still there, popped, and I went and got it checked out because I was just, worrying, and I'm sure I was going to die the next day. But that's what was suggested to me was some compression sleeves. Hey, put these on, it'll help just the blood flow, maybe make it go down a little bit. This is what we tell, everyone essentially. So it's got to have some kind of roots, right? But how to what extent are these great things of compression, and what are all the great things that they can do? But so also when you're running, the compression sleeves for runners, a sock, up around your ankle into the calf or just around your knee or anything, they have compression, pants and things just for your thighs, and anything that's going to be a snug fit. But typically around the joints is also stability. This helps with a reduction in vibrations and impacts around the muscles. Again, now, however minuscule it may be, but it does help. So repetitive pounding against the pavement or through the trails, and if your muscles can stay in line and just, be where they need to be and not be moving around, it's more friction, I guess, if your muscles are really going to rub together movement. But anyway, less movement, more efficient, as long as it's in the direction that they need to move. So not only will it help the blood flow, but it is studied and showed that compression sleeves also help vibrations in muscles, which can help with fatigue. There is an interesting bit about, I think it's kind of like a placebo effect, but it enhances an athlete's proprioception, increases the athlete's kind of perception and feel of where that body part is. If you're wearing like all sweats or baggy clothes versus, tights or singlet and you're running, you may have that feeling of faster. This is faster, or we like to say in trail running or in other circles, more connected to the trail. You kind of know where your feet are or whatever. Again, I think a large portion of it is placebo. But when I got my Saucony Peregrines, versus the ultras that I had that are, supposed to be more of a roomy fit and comfortable for your foot there. But the sucker needs to have more of a narrow, speedy feel. I could feel it more around my foot. I feel like I'm able to have a better foot placement, more intense or direct, like where I want my feet to go, kind of, more nimble or agile, right? If something is tight, that's depends on the athlete. If you've been running or doing whatever the sport is for a long time, your body. This effect is shown more in higher athletes that, again, have been doing it for a long time. So they're like, I know what I'm doing. I got it covered. So there's a portion of a placebo effect in that. Whatever. It's nice. So if it helps you, it helps you. That's the ultimate thing, right? If it's going to help you, it will help you. And it's helping blood flow and stability. So with the blood flow, if I can explain this in the lactate and everything, how it works and what's the process with lactate. This is kind of the interesting part. So muscles are working, they're generating energy. If it's anaerobically without oxygen, something where your heart rate's so high and it's pushing the effort and energy needed is over than what your body can use the oxygen through the muscles and all that kind of stuff. Kind of in the lines of like your VO2 and all that kind of things. But this energy comes from glucose, unless you're in ketosis and you've been doing keto things, then you're pulling it from fat and your metabolism works a little different way. But if you're pulling from glucose, or glycolysis, if you're using that glucose buildup in your body, it will start to produce something called pyruvate or pyruvate. When the body has plenty of this oxygen, the pyruvate is shuttled to a aerobic kind of system. So with oxygen, everything's normal. This is a common thing. This is the kind of exhaust I was talking about. The blood cells are now taking out this pyruvate and getting rid of it through means of a aerobic, easy way. But when the oxygen is limited and you are sprinting, you're doing a high intensity interval workout, something hard and fast, and you're getting after it, right? There's a substance that comes off of this when it can't use that typical aerobic pathway and has to start doing something anaerobically. And so this pyruvate has a substance that comes off called lactate. So that's where lactate comes from. And this is when, which allows you to get the energy when you're in an anaerobic state. So the side effect of this lactate, it'll start to build up. It increases a high amount of acidity in your muscles. That's that lactic acid that you hear about. And this starts to build up because it can't get out as fast and taken away from the muscles since everything is working really hard. So you get a lactic buildup. And this essentially is that slow, like swole feeling. It's like you're wading through cement and you're like, I physically cannot move my muscles any faster. Like, why can't, it feels like I have bricks in my body. That's that buildup. It's just the leftover parts of your body's, I want to say, metabolic system of using energy. And when you get into an anaerobic state, fast, hard, extreme intense, this lactate will build up, creating high acidity, and you get this slow feeling. So back to compression, again, we're back to the veins and the oxygen potential or efficiency, I guess, in minuscule, maybe, pretty much. So if you have a compression sleeve around your calves, if you're doing a lot of hiking, it will, at some point, again, help with stability, make you feel cool or fast or have a understanding of where your legs are, but it is helping the veins be these pathways or bridges now out of cable and make it a little easier for your oxygen, your blood cells, I guess, to carry that oxygen in and then take the pyruvate out. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I try to say it so many different ways, but take that out and then decrease the lactate a little bit. There's different thresholds for people. If you're a higher athlete, you're used to what's going on, but that's the gist of it. So this has been studied. It does do this. There's different degrees of it, of how amazing this is, how much the compressions really help. Are they that great? Baseball players will put them on their elbows, or basketball players around their ankles and whatever. It's also for recovery though. So in the same sense, you can, after the work, and your muscles will get sore, not necessarily because of the lactate. That's been shown. That's not what necessarily makes the muscles sore. That's just the in the moment type feeling. Soreness is just from all those little micro tears and the work that it was done, and now it's going to grow and become bigger and stronger. And that's how you have muscles growth. But having the compression sleeves on that sore body part will help the recovery of it, because you're again supplying more oxygen to your muscles, and that's why your muscles do what they do. They need the oxygen and protein and all the other stuff. Yes, but compression, the main part, helps bring oxygen to you, exhaust out the private out and everything. They're good things. I think they're worth having around. I like them. I'm gonna wear them here at a marathon pretty soon. It's supposed to have a lot of climbing. It's one of those things too. If I think it helps me, then maybe it'll probably help me, right? And the placebo effect. And if there's a chance that's gonna help for more blood flow, which has been proven it does, then yes, I'll wear them. So if you haven't, I would try them out, at least for recovery. If you're just home and you're sitting down or at your computer after you've done a lot of running or a workout, slide some on, put those socks on, whatever. So plenty of claims. These, it's reasonable. Evidence is inconclusive in some sorts, but keep in mind, something, if there is a back and forth of how tight a compression sleeve is on whatever joint or part. If you need stability, again, your knee or ankle, something really thick is just going to be for stability. You may not be able to perform in that or do the activity as well because you're just needing stability. So that's something to consider. Are you about to run, or are you trying to recover? If you're recovering, taking all your vitamins, plenty of water, get some creatine, all that, water, oxygen, protein, vitamins for the muscles, get recovered quickly. This is such a wonderful scripture. It's one, if you've seen it around running, I'm sure you have. If you didn't know you have, this is where it comes from. It's Hebrews 12:1. The portion that you've probably seen is let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing your eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfectioner of faith, or some versions just say fixing your eyes on Jesus. But I want to give you the whole thing here. This is such a common one, but it's always taken out of context a little bit of the portion that they use, because it starts off a little more wide. But therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus. With whatever you're doing, whatever your race is, understand that it is marked out for you, and you can do it. Of course, anything through and with Jesus. Have fun, guys. Consider compression. Check them all out. They're kind of everywhere now too. They're not hard to get your hands on, but I think they're a great tool to keep in. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. May the dirt be forever on your feet. God bless.